I'm Jess.
And I'm Joy.
And on this episode of Real Talk, we're talking about the tragic events that happened at Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in Brazil. We all heard about the tragic incident that happened at Taylor Swift's show in Rio on the first opening night. There was a heat wave going on. Outside the venue was about 40 degrees, but inside it felt like 60.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, there was one fan who did pass away. She was called Ana. She collapsed from heat exhaustion and then later, unfortunately, died at the hospital because of a cardiac arrest. And then there were also other issues with fans where they weren't getting water because the venue wasn't providing free water. They had to purchase it, but because it was general seating, also fans didn't want to leave their seats. They didn't want to leave their seats, lose their seats just because they wanted to get water, especially after hours of queuing to make sure they had the best seat to see Taylor Swift, right? The stadium also didn't allow people to bring in water, which is crazy, especially in like those kind of circumstances. You'd think you'd be allowed to bring in some sort of water during a heat wave at a concert that's going to go on for 3 hours.
So it's like not unusual that you can't bring water into a venue usually, but like under those circumstances, surely someone would have thought, bit hot, maybe I'll have...
You'd think there'd be some sort of preparation put in place knowing it was going to be so warm at the venue. And for some reason, it just wasn't there. I know they tried the second day of the show, but I don't think that went to plan because the show ended up getting postponed. I know, but they did have firefighters outside, like hosing people down, people calling the queue. So they definitely took more safety precautions that day. There was also an Instagram post where they were showing people where the free water points were. So obviously they realised that they couldn't not offer free water at the venue and couldn't allow people to bring their drinks in. So at least in the second night of the tour, they took the needed precautions in the first place. But the show ended up being postponed because they didn't think the show should go under those conditions, which is understandable.
It's horrible when you waited so long for something you're so excited for and something like that happens and it's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think it's also really exciting because like Taylor Swift and her team on the first night of the concert, they did try, like there's multiple videos online of her shouting for water at her security to pass it around. Even at one point, she goes and gets her own bottle of water and throws it into the crowd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she tries to direct the security because obviously from where she is, you can see parts of the standing. And so she's definitely trying to help out. And apparently there was one member of her touring crew that was like really attentive to people. People were passing hundreds of cups back. So they did try, but I definitely think there need to be better measures put into place to prevent something like this happening.
For sure, it shouldn't be up to her to do it. She's the performer. Like, there's risk assessments.
Yeah.
It should be up to them to do it.
You can kind of compare it some ways to the Travis Scott Astroworld disaster that happened a couple of years ago, where there was not enough safety precautions put into place and a lot of fans did die in like crushes and it was very heartbreaking. Arguably, there's a bit of a stark difference between how the two performers handled the situation.
Definitely.
Obviously, Taylor Swift was definitely trying to bring attention to it. She was trying to make sure it was sorted as soon as possible.
Right.
She tried. Obviously, it's such a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, she can't prevent everything.
Yeah, whereas Travis, it was like more known at the time that, he very much danced around the issue and didn't necessarily acknowledge it was happening there and then until he apologised afterwards in a video.
I'm honestly just devastated and I could never imagine anything like this just happening.
But it's definitely very interesting to see that even in the last, 3 years since that event happened, there are still changes that need to be put into place to prevent these unfortunate incidents happening.
Definitely.
But it does lead me on to this kind of question of who's to blame? Like, what is the solution to these issues? Is it the artist? Is it the venue?
The venue is the most responsible because it's your place. It's like when people come into your home, you're responsible for their safety. You know where things are, you know how things work. That's up to you. The fans, a little bit, like, you got to take your own precaution. You got to protect yourself when you're anywhere, like let alone at a concert. But the celebrity always gets the backlash because they're like the face of the event. And I don't think they should.
But at the end of the day, it's your show that someone's either severely injured themselves or unfortunately passed away at. So I understand feeling that responsibility. There needs to be another solution that venues can put into place for these incidents, especially when the weather is not a controllable variant.
No.
But we do know it's going to happen. It has been forecast that there is going to be a heat wave, and I think the venue needs to have the responsibility to react to that.
So from Taylor's point of view, I imagine she put all her trust in this venue. Obviously, they've been rehearsing, so she'd been in there before. And to be let down like that in such a massive way, oof.
It must be a very heavy weight on her shoulders to have to overcome.
And it shouldn't be. Like, it's not her fault, obviously, but there are also reports that fans got like second-degree burns just waiting to get inside the venue, let alone actually being inside.
Yeah, and that's nothing you ever want to experience going to a concert.
No.
Or any event even.
No, of course not.
And you think with global warming growing and getting worse each year, they would start putting some things into place, precautions into place to try and prevent these things from happening.
Exactly. So like, what does this mean for the future of live shows? Does that mean celebrities have to like avoid certain countries when they're at like their hottest point in the year, or just taking like normal precautions? Like, why not put out shade for people queuing up to get in the venue, you know?
Yeah, you'd think they'd think ahead now. Well, they're going to have to start thinking ahead because, as you said, what if celebrities are going to start avoiding certain countries, or they're going to have to schedule it and timetable it depending on, you know, their hottest seasons, their coldest season? Because at the end of the day, the fan safety is arguably the most important part of a concert experience, of an event experience, because there's so many of them. You need to make sure they're all safe in these capacities. It's awful. If anything, it's up what happened. And I'm just hoping that now other venues and other organisers are going to see what's happened and take note and actually make sure that come 2024 and the future of shows, we're not going to see these incidents happen anymore.
So we wish that would happen, but Astroworld was 3 years ago. And even though it seems like we learned a lot, like celebrities keep looking out for their fans, making sure everyone's okay as much as they can, we're still seeing deaths, we're still seeing tragedies, we're still seeing people hurt. So, I mean, hopefully it will happen, but I'm not sure. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on a second of Real Talk.